call the zoning commission meeting scheduled for today, Tuesday, May 28th at 6:30 PM. Can someone take roll, please?
Mr. McNulty?
Here.
Mr. Bellis?
Here.
Ms. Foster? Mr. Avadanula?
Okay. So there are two things on the agenda today. The first one would be a zoning amendment application ZON-24-02, Pulte Homes. Robin, would you like to present the staff report and tell us a little bit about the project?
I sure would.
Unless anyone else has any other objections, let's get to it.
So we are here for rezoning case ZON-24-02. This is an amendment to the Slate Ridge Single Family Plan Residential District. So this is land at the northeast corner of US 23 and Columbus Pike and Home Road. The applicant is requesting to amend a previously approved development plan in two previous applications for a single-family condominium development. The area being amended is comprised of multiple parcels, all within the Slate Ridge development, which are located on the northeast corner of US 23, Columbus Pike, on Home Road, and then also the Green Meadows extension. Some history on this site. So the subject site was originally rezoned in 2014 from Farm Residential District, or FR1, to the Single Family Plan Residential District. Originally, I believe that was fee simple lots. It was most recently amended in 2021 to alter the development plan to allow for 219 condominium units. The Green Meadows Extension Project does run through a portion of this site. The residential units are largely split up into two sub-districts, east and west. Land is currently in development, but as of yet, no homes are currently completed. Eric, do you mind pulling up the staff report? And just we can throw the site plan up there real quick. It's easier to see than to describe. There we are. So you can see the home road goes along, kind of snakes around the southern border of the site there. The Slate Ridge development is broken up into two portions, east and west, which are both single-family plan residential. There is kind of a weird chunk in the middle there, which is currently zoned FR1. So in terms of the amendment request, so there are three separate parts of this application that are requesting to be amended. The first is for clubhouse and amenities. It's on the right-hand portion of the screen there, right where Eric's cursor is. So the currently approved development plan, so the previous development plan that is approved today features a community clubhouse and then a swimming pool. The applicant is requesting to remove that pool from the development plan and replace it with a variety of amenities that can be used at more times throughout the year. They are proposing two pickleball courts, one bocce ball court, an oversized patio with a covered terrace, an outdoor fireplace and grills, dog park, and walking paths with landscaping. The clubhouse would be approximately 1,600 square feet, and the architecture would match what is approved for the rest of the development. The second request is to modify the combined mailbox unit, or CBU, location and parking. And Eric, if you can scroll up just a little, please. So that's going to be on the left-hand portion of the site, just a little north of where Eric's cursor is, or where it was previously, kind of near the entrance to the development on the western portion. So they are requesting to change the parking configuration for one of the CBUs, which is required for all new developments as per the Postal Service regulations. The new configuration would provide 9 off-street parking spaces as opposed to the previously approved 6 head-on on-street parking spaces. This would also contain landscape screening and lighting. Then the third amendment that is requested by the applicant is just kind of cleaning up some language within the text for accessory structures, patios, decks, and fences. So because this is a condo development, it's technically one big condo lot instead of traditional fee simple lots with individually platted lots. So the zoning here is a little bit different, where we don't have traditional setbacks from the property lines, but instead we have structure separation that's used to specify the minimum distance between units. The currently approved rear separation requirements vary depending on the location of the unit, but those can go from 26 feet in the rear to 40 feet in the rear, depending on where they are. The applicant is proposing additional language that at-grade concrete slabs, paver patios, and fences would be allowed to encroach not more than 10 feet into the rear yard separation. So in terms of our zoning practice and how we administrate this, essentially this language is acceptable to us as staff. So really this would only change the setbacks for concrete patios. So for paver patios, currently we do not really regulate those because they're considered movable. They're not affixed to the ground. We do not classify paver patios as a structure under our zoning resolution. So essentially nothing would be changed there. Same for fences. We do not issue permits for fences. We do not regulate fences except where they are required around swimming pools. I did make a note in the staff report that I wanted to see the language regarding fences removed. It made reference to Orange Township issuing fence permits, which we do not do. The applicant has since removed that language, so we're all good there. So again, just cleaning up some language for paver patios, concrete patios, and fences, but in actuality, that would really only change practice for the concrete patios. So they would be able to encroach 10 feet into that rear yard setback, which again can range from 26 feet to 40 feet. In general, we do recommend approval of all of these amendment requests. The amenities for the clubhouse, again, allow it to be used more year-round than a few warm months in central Ohio in the summer. So we're fine with that. The design of the CBU and the landscaping all looks good. And we do not have any issues with the accessory structure language in the text. We would recommend that the applicant just look at the text. That I believe there's one provision in there that says that no additional public lighting will occur throughout the development. So that might be something just to look at and clean up, but we have no major concern. With that, I will conclude the staff report. I believe the applicant is here if the commission has any questions.
Question for you, Robin. Is this just a kind of amending approvals that were already there? What,
Correct.
2014?
So the initial was 2014, but that plan did change pretty significantly. So this most recent version is from 2021.
All right.
No.
No. And there was amendments for what was already approved.
Correct.
Essentially 10 years ago. Interesting.
They haven't broken ground up there.
I believe they've done some site work. I believe they've started construction on some of the model homes, but there are no homes that are completed. Nobody is living there.
Big chunk of property between the Polte developments.
No.
Because I'm curious as to why, whoever. So you're really just doing amending right now what was already done essentially 10 years ago with that chunk of land that was already out of there. And we can actually pull it out when they come up, is that for whatever reason they said, okay, that's fine, we can keep our community separate.
You would have to ask the landowners those questions. I have no answers for you.
They just didn't want to get into it, and that's okay. It's all good. I'm just curious. No, if the Pulte people want to come forward and tell us about that, that's great.
Actually, yes, I would like to hear from the applicant.
And we appreciate that you're back because we missed you before when you home road. I don't know if you were aware of that. We're glad you're back.
Well, thank you. Good evening, members of the commission. My name is Nikki Martin, Pulte Homes of Ohio, 475 Metro Place South. Appreciate the opportunity this evening for your consideration of our minor development plan amendment for the Slate Ridge residential piece of the community. As you may recall, obviously this is part of a larger zoning district, and we are looking to make some very, very minor modifications to our portion, which, as Robin so nicely covered, includes a east and west portion of our site. We intend to develop patio homes, so that remains consistent, as well as all of our development standards. We are really just trying to tailor some of our final details to what our future homeowners desire. Specifically with the clubhouse amendment, that would be to provide some final details for that, as well as revised outdoor amenities that we think better meet our buyer and our market, as well as formalizing combined mailbox facility parking on the west side that was actually previously approved by the Board of Zoning Appeals as a temporary facility associated with the model home. So looking to formalize that facility. And then like Robin said, just to clean up some of the items in the development text and clarify how minimum distance between structures works for at-grade patios, recognizing many of our residents like to enjoy the outdoors. So happy to answer any specific questions you have regarding our application, although I am unable to hypothesize in regards to adjacent property owners.
I was just curious about why that large chunk is. I mean, it's okay. Hey, this works for you, all good. It's not a problem.
So I actually did have some questions
Yes.
about the separation requirements with patios. Robin did a great job. Fences aren't structures, paver patios, concrete slabs, I guess would be considered. And we're just talking about concrete patios, not decks, correct? Within that revision for the setback.
Within the revision for the minimum distance between structures, yes, that's
Okay.
for at-grade patios.
Okay, so it's patio only, because I do have some concerns with separation when it comes to wood decks. And the other thing I was curious about is currently the rear separation is from 26 to 40 feet. Is that from building to building, or how is that calculated?
Yeah, so the 26 feet is actually when it's a side to a rear.
Okay.
That's when it's reduced. In all of the instances where it's rear to rear, that's a minimum of 40 feet between structures.
Okay.
And as of now, that would be the primary structure rear to the primary structure rear.
Okay.
What we're requesting is that an at-grade patio structure could encroach an additional 10 feet to make that rear yard a little more usable.
Okay. I was just curious because if it's, so the 26 feet would only be like a side of a house and a rear. So you would
Correct.
still have, with the encroachment, maybe extra leeway is what I'm trying to get at.
Correct.
As in you'd still have 16 feet of breathing room between your patio and your neighboring house. And the patios would be strictly for the rear, not side yards.
Correct.
So you wouldn't ever have a patio with the patio and only 6 feet between them.
That is correct.
Okay, that was my concern.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to clarify it. Just because I'm not comfortable with the 6 feet, but I could handle the 16 between a side yard and the patio.
With the rezoning process that we are doing right now, it is consistent with our language, right? Like 10 feet, 20 feet that we tried to analyze a couple of months ago. So it should be consistent and it should be within that guideline.
Yes.
Yeah. It's within, it's difficult because they're condos.
Yeah.
So technically there's
Yeah.
not property lines.
No.
There's just sort of imaginary lot lines. If that makes sense.
Of course.
Yeah.
Or what we've used in the past is imaginary lot lines. Like for building code requirements.
Yep.
With separation from the imaginary lot line.
And you have to keep in the homeowner association with respect to, as you've heard this, it's very real that we, the pavers, those aren't structures. Decks are structures. All of a sudden you start to encroach into those setbacks. So that has to be written into any of those homeowners agreements so they understand a structure versus a paver.
Yes, we can certainly make sure that's abundantly clear.
Yeah.
Are your homes like the 55 and older, like the EPCON file, or?
So they're not age restricted. Certainly some of the characteristics of the home, it being a single story, generally on a slab foundation, although basements will be offered as an option. So there are characteristics that would resemble that, but it is not age restricted.
I had a question regarding, so how many single-family units are we?
So it's 219.
219, right?
Yeah.
And recently, if you have been to one of the pool amenities that we have is the North Orange Park, and it is very close to that place. And that pool is close to full when in the peak time of the summer. And you know where I'm coming from, because as Central Ohio is becoming warmer, there is the entire Columbus area, the metropolitan area. There was a report made by the local news that there is not enough pool amenities for a lot of communities, which is affecting people from enjoying that, and this could have an additional burden on the North Orange Park aquatic facilities. So have we considered what kind of impact might be from this before we say, okay, it's okay not to have a pool?
In terms of scientific studies, no, we did not. But I mean, I would say that even if they had a pool here, they would still, as Orange Township residents, be able to join the North Orange Aquatic Center as members or get daily passes.
What is the size range of these units? And as people mentioned earlier, it's not 55 and above age restricted, so there is potential that there could be families there that might want to use a pool. So shifting from perhaps amenities for younger people like pools or playgrounds and going to pickleball and bocce, which would be a different demographic, how exactly was that decision made?
Really, it's driven by the type of product that we're offering here and trying to align our amenities with our product more closely. This community was never planned to have a playground facility. There was, obviously contemplation that there may be a pool. Looking at the design of the pool and that it limited other opportunities, it's kind of an either or. You get a pool or you get a handful of other outdoor amenities. It seemed to provide more added value. But certainly there could be families here. Are there other opportunities for families within Orange Township that may be a better fit? Probably. But yeah, no one would be precluded.
All right. Y'all have any more questions?
Well, I mean, just to add, our zoning code doesn't require a pool.
Nope.
And for any such thing as those amenities, those
Bonuses.
So those are your choice with those.
Correct. And I would add that our Parks Department was part of this discussion. We had an initial meeting with Pulte, and they did not have concerns.
To ask questions or speak of the applicant? Anyone want to speak, have questions? Okay. If you could please state your name and address for the record.
Doug Wenzel, 620 Lewis Center Road. the picture's so small that the hearings in 21, there was discussion about adding tree line at the north end of the property for screening. And the picture's so small that it's hard to tell if that is included there.
Might not show all the details even when we zoom in.
Yeah, so I can absolutely provide you a more detailed landscape plan. This is obviously a concept from 2021. The development text does include larger setbacks along the perimeter because it is a condominium. So that larger setback provides us additional space to do landscaping. To me, that looks like there may have been some intent that was illustrated.
It does look like one.
Yeah, I'm happy to look into that further. I don't have an answer for you right now.
Okay. Thank you. Eric, do you have their whole proposal pulled up?
Yeah. The latest application.
Okay. Can you go to page 81 of that PDF, please? That is different than the one I had. Oh, I'm looking at the initial, sorry. No, it's, well, I guess either one would work, but they do have their landscape plan in there somewhere. I'm trying to find what page it is.
There's shrubbery on this picture.
And that is for the pickleball.
Yeah, but that's for pickleball and clubhouse.
Yeah, there it is. So if you, and Eric, if you can zoom in on that northern part there. So you can see there are plantings that are required to the rear of those units on the north side of the property.
And it looks like there's a 25-foot building setback, so there should be plenty of room for landscaping. Is that something, because I'll be honest, I just skimmed the development text. Is that something that's specifically spelled out in the development text that they'll be screening?
Well, it's part of, I don't know if it's in the text, but since it's part of the landscape plan, they will be required to comply with those.
So that's fine, the public? Yes. I don't want to, single you out versus the other people in the audience.
And so the area that doesn't depict additional landscape buffering, there are existing trees in that area that are intended to be preserved. So we wouldn't go in that area and disturb it to do additional landscaping.
Right. Are there any other comments from the community? Commission members?
None.
None? 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 All right. Are we good? Does anybody have any questions among the commission that they want to bring up? All right. Then can I have a motion from one of y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here it is, 202.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to motion by Karthik, I would like to recommend to the Board of Township Trustees the approval of zoning application number ZON-24-02 of Pulte Homes of Ohio LLC, the pages of which are each stamped received with Orange Township zoning on 5/23/24, requesting the amendment of the currently effective development plan for property owned by Pulte Homes of Ohio LLC, application number 13-0305, and and application number ZON-20-03. Upon finding that it is in the interest of the public convenience, comfort, prosperity, or general welfare, or sufficiently in accordance with the comprehensive plan.
All right, can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, should we call a vote?
Mr. McNulty?
Yes.
Mr. Bellis?
Yes.
Ms. Foster? Mr. Ivananula?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
So the next item before the commission is zoning amendment application ZON-24-03 by OP Marigold LLC. Robin, if you would like, could you please present us with the staff report?
Sure. So this is rezoning case ZON-24-03. This is, again, similar to the previous case. This is a request for amendment to the currently effective single-family plan residential district for 4 total parcels that total just over 40 acres along Lewis Center Road and then the North Road / Green Meadows Drive extension that will be going through the eastern portion of that property. So the applicant is requesting to amend the currently effective development plan, to modify their landscaping plan, and then to alter their site plan to allow for 120 single-family condominiums, as well as 1 estate lot on the frontage of Lewis Center Road. In terms of the surrounding area, to the north is Farm Residential District and Single Family Plan Residential District. To the south are the properties that we've discussed in the previous application, Farm Residential District and Single Family Plan Residential District, being that FR1 open land and then the Slate Ridge Single Family Plan Residential District. To the east is Farm Residential District, and then to the west is Farm Residential District and some Single Family Plan Residential District. Also across the Green Meadows Drive extension would be the old village of Lewis Center. On the second page of the staff report, you can see the proposed, that is the currently approved development plan, and then just below it is the proposed development plan. In general, they look fairly similar. So in terms of the requests, I can break them down into 2. And Eric, why don't you go to the next page and then we'll jump back up to this one. So the landscaping plan for this development previously had a tree preservation zone along the frontage for Green Meadows Drive. And so along that Green Meadows extension, there was going to be a tree preservation zone which would preserve the existing trees and provide buffering from that Green Meadows Drive into this development. However, because of a miscommunication with the contractor, most of the trees in that area were removed. And so the applicant is proposing to plant new trees and install mounding in that area to provide screening and help to restore that area of the site. So essentially, because that tree preservation zone is no longer applicable, they have submitted additional plans to try to offset that loss. So that is one part of the applicant's request. The second portion of the amendment request, so it's essentially changing the configuration of the units as well as minor change to the road layout as well. So the total number of homes in the development is not changing. So it's 121 overall units. So the applicant had it broken down in the currently approved development plan so that there were 117 smaller single-family homes in sub-area A. And then there were to be 4 estate lots with larger homes along the Lewis Center Road frontage. So those were 4 units for a total of 121 units. The applicant is proposing to change that configuration. So 3 of those entitled units would be moved from sub-area B to sub-area A. Again, that would still be a total of 121 units. But sub-area A would have 120 units, and then sub-area B would only be permitted to have 1 single-family home. So Eric, now if you can please go back to the previous page, and we can look at the site plans compared with each other. So you can see this is the existing plan as it currently stands approved today. So you can see the 4 larger lot homes in that northwest portion of the site. The smaller homes are in the southeast portion there. So again, current configuration is 4 in the northwest and then 117 in the southeast. As long as you can see that landscaping on the the eastern portion of that site is what I was referring to. And this is the amendment that is proposed by the applicant. So there would be 1 home permitted in that sub-area B along Lewis Center Road, and then the 3 units would be added to the sub-area A portion of the site in the southeast. So you can see it's a minor change to the layout down there, but those units would be moved down there. And then you can see on the eastern portion of the site where they have the additional landscaping and trees to be planted there. As part of this change, they are not really altering the text. We did recommend that they add language in the development text that just explicitly calls out that no more than 1 dwelling unit will be permitted in sub-area B. The applicant did send me updated text this morning that I did not get a chance to get out to you all, but they have complied with that request that we gave them, and that would be reflected in the final plans moving forward.
So is that added text enough to make sure that 10 years from now, no one tries to take the property on the north side and subdivide it into 4 homes?
Yes, I mean, they would, and somebody is always able to request that change. It's zoning, it's not in perpetuity. Somebody would have to request that change, and that request would have to be granted by this commission and the Orange Township Board of Trustees. But they could also do that if that portion were left as it is today, where they could come back and ask for 8 lots or 16 lots or however many they could logistically fit in there. That doesn't mean it would be approved.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
So it's not just single property. This development.
Correct. Yes.
Because taking 3 units away from there, greater density for the southern portion. So I have no problems with, the change. It's still the same number of units. My only caveat would be add that language so you can't all of a sudden get a bunch of houses in what's supposed to be a single family.
Correct. Yes.
Area.
And I would also mention with that, just so everybody is clear, the restrictions would apply no matter who owns that portion. The ownership and even lots are really not relevant to that. The zoning would restrict it to 1 unit. And the applicant is here if they wish to make a presentation and if the commission has any questions.
This is another one, just like the other one that's already been approved at some other point. So that means Delaware's already seen it, town by.
Correct.
I'm assuming all that preliminary stuff is just simply done and carries over to all of it.
Correct, yes.
So would the applicant like to speak and present the changes to the amendment for the development plan? Sure we didn't miss anything.
I believe Robin very much covered the majority of what we are presenting to you today.
State your name.
Sorry, Annie Richardson with Onyx and East Land Acquisition and Development Manager. We are happy to. We can walk through just quickly a few of the other points. As was previously presented, this is the existing plan that was approved back in March of 2023. And then if we pop to the next slide, as Robin presented, this is the updated plan, and the 3 additional units that were switched from subarea B to subarea A are located in the southwest corner of subarea A. Again, largely the roads have remained the same. Layout and intent and organization of the plan has remained the same. We can pop to the next slide. You'll notice here that we have created one large lot that would encompass all of subarea B. It's about 9.2 acres and would go along with the existing home on the site. This is the intent for the updated landscape plan around Green Meadows Drive. And we also have presented this to the neighbors who are adjacent to this corridor and largely had some positive feedback. And I know some of those neighbors are here tonight as well, and feel this is likely the best path forward for this development. And we hope will help, our residents as well as the neighbors interact with this landscape. Last thing to note is just some updated landscape plans that have been slightly modified from the first original development plan to now, just based on final engineering, and just noting, that we still have the same number and size of plantings, just slightly changed positions as needed for final engineering. Any questions for us?
Do you have any questions for the applicant?
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Are there any members of the community who'd like to speak or have any questions for the applicant? You want to come up, state your name and address?
Nick McCoy, 1201 Franklin Street, and now 1184 Franklin Street, we just purchased. A couple of questions. Not all of the trees have been cut, so is the intent to wipe out the rest?
No, the intent would be to do no more.
Because that was a question.
I think
Because I was the one that pointed out and stopped them.
just
ultimately.
of note as well, the county did do tree clearing as well alongside of us. So as much as to our power and anything that we can do on our property, there will be no more tree clearing. The county obviously is doing construction, so we cannot control what they have.
I noticed cut down anything that's in the way, including stuff not on their stuff. Sorry. And then somewhere else in that plan, if you could point it out to me or send it to me, is the caliper of the trees proposed to be planted within this. I didn't ask you guys this the last time. I think that's probably your key there. Okay. And then just, you said something about final engineering, so I'm assuming that's what occurred between the tucking of the multi-use path. And I'll show you since you're up there.
Yeah.
So you've got your old plan tucked it earlier, and then this one, it doesn't tuck.
So that was based on the county's final engineering. The county is actually constructing that multi-use path as part of their road construction. So we're at the mercy of what their plans are.
Okay, they're gonna ask you for dirt too.
We'll see. But yes, that would be.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the community who would like to speak? Okay. Please remember to state your name and address for the record.
Sure. So stand on my tiptoes. My name is Fran Bobby. I live at, it's okay. I can stand 404 Valley Mist Crossing. I'm on the ravine side of the Epcon community. So that's my general location. So just, we want to understand, that's why I came from some of our neighborhood, the homes that are along Lewis Center Road now, 696, that's been sold to the developer, is that correct?
That is owned by the developer
That
currently,
is,
yes.
because I know just sold. And then I noticed as I was coming here, the White House that has a barn to it has in contract. Did you also buy that property?
Sorry, so what, so you're talking
It's right along,
696 or 1,000?
it would be 1,000.
1,000. My understanding is yes, that is currently for sale.
Okay. And will that be a wooded area or
So-
what's going to go?
So that property is actually not part of this application, so that is currently zoned farm residential.
It looks like a farm.
Yeah.
In a barn. So, okay. So that is not part of this at all?
Correct.
that one. But the 696, of course, is?
Correct.
Okay. That's, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, so then if it's currently zoned farm residential, the white farmhouse, it would have to be rezoned for any development.
Okay, okay. Or who bought it wants to keep it
Exactly,
as,
that answers your
keep
question.
it as a farm. And from, we were here when this was first proposed, and I understand the Orange Township is not responsible for the roads. That's a Delaware County issue. Is that correct? And Lewis Center Road is I think a grade B or a type B road. I'm not sure what that means. I looked it up. I'm
Yeah,
not
so
sure.
it's complicated. So it's
Everything is complicated.
yeah. So our zoning resolution puts roads into 4 different classifications depending on how major they are. So Lewis Center Road is a Class B road, and so that requires, since it's Class B, houses or structures have to be set back further from the road because it's a more major road than Class C.
Okay. I figured it would,
Yeah.
there's a tier. There's a
And
pecking
there's also a
order.
tier in terms of who's responsible for that road, state, county, et cetera.
So that is a Delaware County responsibility.
Yes, Lewis Center Road is a county.
And I'm sure you've heard this over and over again, but traffic is terrible, and it's obviously going to get worse. You know, we can't get out probably in the morning because of the high school, and then at about 3 o'clock, once the buses start rolling and everything, and then as we approach going to South State Street, already that is there are a lot of traffic problems
The
there.
hope is with the connectors and series of roundabouts will help relieve some of the traffic that is currently on South Old State and 23 and Lewis Center Road. Whether or not that happens, we will have to see, but that is the plan.
I understand, but I also, if you try to get out from our neighborhood onto Lewis Center Road and make a right when the buses are coming out of the high school, and some of them are parked all the way up by the turnaround because they pick up the students and then head out towards South State. I think the other day it took me 45 minutes to go from my house to Green Meadows. It's 45 minutes. So I understand your plan, and I understand that's something that you can't do anything about, but at some point, you know, we're not going to be able to get out of there at all. Now, where's the exit for your new development? Is it all off of Green Meadows? Is there anything that's going to actually exit onto Lewis Center Road?
So with this plan that's proposed by the applicant, there's 2 accesses on the Green Meadows, and then the one lot along Lewis Center Road would just maintain its existing access.
Okay, so no additional roads?
Correct.
Okay,
Not along Lewis Center.
not along Lewis Center?
Correct. So it's only the existing house there and whatever traffic that generates.
All right, just thank you. Thanks for the information.
Yeah.
Do we have any other comments? Members, do y'all have any other thoughts, comments, concerns? All right then, are we all ready to pass a motion for a vote?
A motion I'm M. Foster, to recommend to the Board of Township Trustees the approval of zoning application number ZON-24-03 of Onyx and East, the pages of which are each stamped received with Orange Township zoning on 5/3/2024, requesting the amendment of the currently effective development plan for property owned by O.P. Marigold LLC, application number ZON-22-10, upon finding that it is in the interest of the public convenience, comfort, prosperity, or general welfare, or sufficiently in accordance with the comprehensive plan.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, can we call a vote?
Mr. McNulty?
Yes.
Mr. Bellis?
Yes.
Ms. Foster?
Yeah.
Mr. Avadanula?
Yeah.
Motion carries.
All right. Is there any other business that was not on the agenda?
Last I've heard, it's 2026 as estimated completion. I wouldn't hold my breath.
Robin, is that a county issue or is that?
Yes, that is all Delaware County. But yeah, and that is, I think, the issue that keeps getting things pushed back is they have to go over the railroad, and so both railroads have to give approval, which takes time.
All right.